Rudolph Speid has to be an arrogant man if he thinks this current Cavalier team will challenge for the Jamaica Premier League this season.
Jamaica have a lifeline. How about this?
Big up Gunnaz. I hear that. Don't know something that Gunnaz will say, but big up Gunnaz.
Hello and welcome back to the Gunnaz podcast. I'm your host, Dicanio, an Arsenal fan who covers everything Reggae Boyz and local football. And I just have to say, I see messages all the time in the comment section that a lot of you didn't realize that you did not subscribe. So if you can do me a favor, go ahead and check if you are a subscriber to this channel. It would be tremendously appreciated. It's a simple and free thing that anyone who watches the show frequently can do to help us on the channel, to keep everything going and to keep us on the same trajectory that we are heading for. So I implore you to subscribe, because in a strange way, you are a part of our history here at Gunnaz, and you are on that journey with us, and I appreciate you all. So thank you for doing that. So in this video, people, we're going to be talking about the Caribbean Cup. As you guys should know by now, Cavalier and Mount Pleasant are representing Jamaican teams in that Caribbean Cup competition, and both of them kicked off their campaign last night with Cavalier playing against Cibao, the team that they played last year and beat in the Caribbean Cup finals. However, this time out, they lost by 2-0. While on the other hand, Mount Pleasant played at the National Stadium, edging their team, or the team that they played against, Robin Hood from Suriname, by 1-0. So we're going to delve deeper into both games. Not too much about how the game panned out, but more about how both clubs are looking ahead of the Jamaica Premier League season. Now, I really want to speak about that loss from or by Cavalier against the same team that beat them last year in the Caribbean Cup, or that they beat last year in the Caribbean Cup finals, because Cavalier looked a shadow of themselves. And I think it just screams to the poor transfer window that Cavalier have had. They let go almost all of their key players. They let go Richard King, which was long overdue. We understand that. But they also let go Aubrey. They let go Dwayne Busy Atkinson. They let go Jalmar Calvin. And those players, specifically King, Busy, and Jalmar Calvin, were the spine of the team. Now, every time I mention this to regular fans out there, or even pundits, anyone who talks Jamaican football, and I say that Cavalier will struggle this season after losing those three players, the first thing that they always mention is the fact that it's something that Cavalier does all the time, right? Let go their best players, and then they have youth players that come up. But there's not enough being said about the new wave of football, or the new modern way of Jamaican football, which compromises of a whole lot more games. And we saw Cavalier last season struggle in the Jamaica Premier League because they had to be juggling external competitions, right? And that was even with the best players that they had, including King, Busy, and Calvin, right? And the fact that they lost those players who were not only young, but also very experienced, I just don't think they're going to be able to do it this specific season. Remember, it's not a season with 12 teams and you're going to be playing each team twice. It's now a season with 14 teams and you're going to be playing all 14 teams 3 times. Is it so? Yeah, there are 3 rounds, right? Or all 13 teams, my bad, for 3 rounds. So it's a 39 game campaign. That's a whole lot of games to be playing without experience of King, the goal scoring of Calvin, also the experience and creativity of doing Busy Atkinson, or even an Aubrey from the bench. So I am predicting Cavalier to have a very, very challenging season this year. And it's not because of this result, losing their first game in the Caribbean Cup. It's something that I have been saying ever since I saw them letting go all of their key players. First it was King, then it was Calvin, and I was like, okay, they can survive with Busy and Aubrey and the rest of those guys. But then they let go Busy, and then they let go Aubrey. And who's to say they aren't going to let go Adrian Reed Jr., right? So I am hearing rumors out there of players coming in, but for no one, this current squad and especially what I watched in that Caribbean Cup against Cibao, Cavalier will be nowhere near the top 6 unless they strengthen. And I have to think that Rudolph Speid is planning to strengthen. Because otherwise he would be nothing better this season than his arch nemesis Craig Butler, who clearly thought that his young, inexperienced team could do it last year, and we all saw what happened. Now, I'm not saying Cavalier will be relegated, but what I am saying, if they go into the season with this current squad, it is not going to be easy for them, and I predict them not making it into the top 6. Just the simple things. I know Christopher Ainsworth used to be a winger back in the day when he was a teenager, but for the past 3 years, he has been playing as a left back. And by changing your position to a left back, you know, sometimes we all lose some of the skill that we did have when you were a winger, right? He's a much more defensive-minded player, and Rudolph Speid was playing him on the right wing in that game. It's just not going to work. They need to replace well. They cannot expect a seasoned left back to replace Jalmar Calvin, that was a seasoned 20-plus goal striker in the Jamaica Premier League. So let's see what Cavalier will do. But now I want to go ahead and talk specifically about Mount Pleasant, because even though Cavalier had a very stink night last night, Mount Pleasant had a very wonderful one for many different reasons. Now, they faced Robin Hood at the National Stadium in a game that they dominated from start to finish, despite Warner Brown receiving a first half red card after an attempted bicycle kick went south, and he kicked that Robin Hood defender in his head, sending him on the stretcher to the hospital. It was a very serious injury, and the referee had no choice. He hesitated, but after seeing that the player was stretchered off and went straight to the hospital, Warner Brown, I think, was fairly given a red card. However, despite that, Mount Pleasant managed to still dominate the game, and this is the level of team that everyone else in the Jamaica Premier League has to go up against. They have at least 2 to 3 players in each position, so injuries can't derail them, and no situation in game can derail them either. So, as I said, a very, very dominant display from Mount Pleasant, folks. And I think they'll win the first part of the league again this season. Their team is just too strong. And again, they won by 1-0 with Captain Fantastic Sulay McCullough scoring from a corner, his signature move that is now. And I think there was this quite huge disparity, especially when you compare how Cavalier played and how Mount Pleasant played. Despite going down to 10 men, they still looked tactically astute and also very mature in their play. And I think that is the type of team that Rudolph Speid needs to be building, especially when he's trying to challenge for a 39-game season and trying to make the top 6. Even if he does scrape the top 6, it's going to be very difficult to win that JPL going through playoffs with this young, inexperienced team. And I just can't see past it. Unless he adds quality and experience to his team, it is just not going to happen. And yeah, I think we'll see a flip of what happened last year. So last year, Mount Pleasant did make it to the Caribbean Cup, but they fell out at the end. And I think they were very disappointed with that as well. And I think it will be the reverse this season. I think Cavalier will drop out of the Caribbean Cup, and it will be Mount Pleasant who will be victors. And yeah, hopefully Mount Pleasant can bring Magisterial Lionel to the National Stadium next year. Rudolph Speid is someone who always proves people wrong, so let's see if he can. But again, this Mount Pleasant team is just too strong. They blew away the league last year, and they added even more quality players. They've added Demario Phillips from Mobay United. He's back at Mount Pleasant. They've added Romain Blake, former youth international for the Reggae Boyz. And they have added Warner Brown from Hornet Garden, who actually yesterday was his birthday. So he made his debut for Mount Pleasant on his birthday, and he got a red card on his birthday again. It's a debut and a birthday to forget for Warner Brown. But that is it for this video, folks. Share your thoughts below in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Do you agree with me when it comes to Rudolph Speid and him being arrogant letting all of his best players go and not adequately replacing them before heading into the Caribbean Cup. Share your thoughts below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Jamaica have a lifeline. How about this?
Big up Gunnaz, I hear that. Don't know some of the Gunnaz, but big up Gunnaz.